Hi, in this storyline in code, I'm going to show you how to do a zoom in image on top of your storyline file. And I'm going to kind of go over the positives and negatives about that. So first off, I created this storyline course question that you can hover over the image and zoom in different parts to identify certain things. So as you can see here, we've got the question down here that's created in the storyline, and then the image that is coded and uses jQuery. And when you answer question, it'll tell you if you're correct or incorrect. So this is a multiple selection type of quiz. And just because down here, this is the storyline file, and then up here this is the image that was coded into it, you can't change this image out. So that's one of the negatives about that. This image will stay here unless you add some sort of JavaScript in that says to hide this image and pull in a new one or just get rid of it or whatnot. And you'll see this when we get into the code. And then I want to also show you guys, before we get started, the just normal HTML version of this. So this is like the normal HTML version that doesn't have any of the fancy storyline stuff. So basically what I did was I took this code and then put it into the published file of the storyline thing. So I'm going to show you that in a second. So what we'll do is take a look at that code there. So for the non-storyline one, just the regular HTML here, we have some tags that I want to go over. So we've added in the image here in the body, and then we've attached 3 different scripts here for jQuery. So we've got a minified version of jQuery that we're importing in. Then we've got just there's one that does the zoom action on it because we need the regular jQuery library, and then we need to have this to zoom next to make it work. And then we've got the code that we're using specifically for that function to zoom in on that image, and that's this over here. So let's get started on the actual storyline piece, and then we'll get into the code and how I did it with storyline. So here we have my stage already set up, and you guys can go ahead and do this on your own because I want to keep this relatively quick. What I did was I went to File, New, oops, you know what, I'll just do a new slide. You want to have a new slide, and what I had done was I created a freeform. Mine is Pick Many. You could do any of these freeform quiz questions if you want. You could even do a graded one that's already in here. So I just did that. I created these boxes, and then under form view what I did was I tied the choices to the objects there, and then I had A and B be the correct ones. So actually I would also probably add something like select all that apply or something right in here. And then what I did, like I did with my last project, if you had seen that tutorial, I went ahead and made everything transparent. So when you go into Format Background, right click Format Background, you want to have the transparency set to 100%. That means you can't see that stage background whatsoever. It's going to be clear. And then what I also did was in the player, you want to make sure you have everything unchecked. So uncheck your title, uncheck basically everything that's checked on this screen right here, uncheck it. So menu, resources, all of that, uncheck it. And then in colors, what you want to do is you want to set color scheme to transparent. How you do that is, I'll go ahead and create, let's see if I can create a new one. Create a new one, new transparent. And what you want to do for the advanced color editing, you want to go through every single thing in the base layer here, or yeah, the base, and you want to make sure that it's at 100% transparency. So 100% transparent. We don't want to see any of that. So just make sure that that's 100% transparent. Another thing I like to do, as I mentioned before, is in the properties under the base layer here, I like to deselect these previous and next buttons so we get a clean screen, and all you'll be able to see is the background color that we'll set in the code, and then you'll see this text and you'll see these buttons on top of it, so it's clean and crisp. So that is pretty much it for this part, except publishing. So we're going to go to File, we're going to Publish, and then what we're going to do for this one is we're going to publish it without HTML5, just because for time's sake I didn't want to do 2 versions of this, so I'm just doing the Flash version, and I haven't even tried the HTML5 version. So what you want to do is you want to go to web, or I guess LMS if you're using LMS, but for this one, let's just do web, and I'll just call this Zoomy version 2, and we want to make sure this include HTML5 output is unchecked, and then click publish. And that's the first part of creating a kind of a visual quiz that we can zoom in on stuff. And the second part, I'm going to go over editing all of the code.